Hello. Good morning, everyone. How are y'all doing out there? Everyone's got things are going to be good. Cool. Well, welcome to Chicago, everyone, and to the 2015 Public Art and Placemaking Pre-Conference. I am Patricia Walsh, the Public Art Programs Manager here at Americans for the Arts, and your guide for the pre-conference. Before we begin, I'd like to take this time to thank those who helped make this pre-conference possible: the Americans for the Arts Board of Directors, the Local Host Committee, and the City of Chicago Department of Cultural Affairs and Special Events, Americans for the Arts staff, the exhibitors, you guys, the Public Art Network Council, and Pre-Conference Committee, who really stepped up to the plate this year to make this public art conference happen for you. Can I get the council and the committee members to stay so we can all recognize you? Thank you, guys, and they are your connections to the national public art scene, so please introduce yourself to them throughout the conference. And of course, I want to thank all of you for attending and for the work you do day in and day out to connect with your communities through public art. This next day and a half is for you to network with colleagues, hear from others in the field, and learn about work happening around the country. In assembling this pre-conference, there were two goals: one, to celebrate the work that has happened and continues to happen, and to start a dialogue as to where we want this field to go in the future. To accomplish this morning you'll hear from the 2015 PAN Award winner, the Association of Public Art, represented by Executive Director Penny Bulkenbach, and then from our three jurors for the 2015 Public Art Network Year in Review. This afternoon, you'll have the opportunity to explore Chicago through 6 different tours, and then rejoin back here for our concurrent sessions to discuss a range of topics pertinent to the public art field today, including cultural equity, managing change in your programs and leadership, participate in the next stage of developing professional standards for the field, or talk about the process and impact of artist-led placemaking projects. As a capstone to this pre-conference, we'll hear from our keynote speaker, landscape architect come public artist, Walter Hood. And for tomorrow, after you have the opportunity to connect with experts in the field through our roundtables, we will end with a session from 4 amazing and unique public artists and hear a take on their work and how they see the role of artists may or may not change as we move forward in this field. One housekeeping note: sign up for the public art tours will take place this afternoon after the year in review, just outside in the foyer. Again, the sign up for the tours will take place after the year in review presentation right outside in the foyer. The next day and a half is for you guys. All of you are out there working hard for your communities. I know the public art field has unique challenges that all of you rise above each and every day. I know this because it shines through the public art works you make happen. I know this because I hear it from others. Early this year, I attended an international meeting between transportation engineers and planners, and though there were public art administrators represented in the room from the MTA in New York and LA Metro, to name a few, it was the engineers who, in the end, were advocating for the public art in their projects. That is where you guys are taking the field. Those working with you on your projects are now some of your biggest supporters. In Madison, Wisconsin, when a public artwork became the lightning rod for the homeless situation in their city, it was a prominent community member who stepped up and deterred the conversation. In Western Virginia, I met a private developer working on projects designed to change the face of their town center, who is passionate about public art and is finding ways to get into his projects. This is the work you are doing, and thank you. I thank you from Americans for the Arts and from your communities who you are out there making healthier and more whole with each project that you. This next day and a half is for you. The programming and events, all of it. I hope you connect and have some fun. This evening we'll have a great pre-conference party planned for you at the Chicago Cultural Center. And for you night owls, please join us for the popular 5 and 5 presentation, which I hear is supposed to be absolutely fun and amazing. Looking at you, Renee. Thank you all for being here. Up next, we're going to hear from people who help make this pre-conference possible. Up first, one of the 3 will be the Public Art Network Council member and Pre-Conference Committee Chair, John Pounds, who's the director of the Chicago Public Art Group. Then we'll hear from Jimmy LaFleur, the Public Art Network Chair and Director for the Public Art Program. We'll hear from our local host connection, Wendy Miller, Curator of Public Art for the City. Department of Cultural Affairs. So without further ado, I think we're going to hear from Jimmy first. Thank you. Oh, no, wait, hold on. John just walked in. So we're going to hear from John first.
I'd say that's the trouble with being a Chicagoan is like you get caught up in traffic and a little late, except other folks are here from Chicago on time. Good morning, everyone. It's a delightful thing for me personally to have the Public Art Network in Chicago. I found the network to be a really inspiring connection to work citywide, statewide, countrywide. As we have met to talk, to show, to laugh, we are still looking for jokes, to think about how public art has transformed lives and communities has really been an extraordinary passion for me, and it's been a real gift for me. I hope that you will get that gift as well. You all deserve it. Thank you for coming to Chicago. If you have questions, there's a lot of us who love the city, and we'll be happy to answer them, probably with more words than you necessarily want, but that we will be happy to share everything that we can about the city that we love. Thank you for coming.
Now here's Jimmy LaFleur, your PAN Chair, Council, and the Program Director for the City of San Antonio.
Thank you. We're going to keep it simple, keep it brief this morning. We have a lot of presentations. In between those times is when it's a network, which is why we're all here together in person. I think for those of you who come frequently, you're familiar with the Public Art Network, you're familiar with the PAN Council process, but just to, for those of you who are not, PAN Council is nominated by the AFTA members and elected by the AFTA members, and we are here, we work very closely with Patricia and the entire Americans for the Arts organization to work on projects and to work on programs throughout the year. We meet very frequently as a group. We work very effectively to kind of foster that teamwork that actually happens very effectively here when we're all gathered together. This year, our group has really focused on some key areas that we'd like to see some progress, and they're somewhat interweaved into the agenda that we're going to be taking part and leading off today, and that includes a focus on regional networks. We had organic start to this morning about regional networks, and we hope that that actually starts to become a discussion point throughout the 2 days, because we really think that at a national level we do a great job at surveying, but there's so much that needs to be said between the different cities that are neighboring cities and the staff that can help support with artists that are kind of in common, that are going to be doing commissions in your area. So in addition to focus, also the best practices and standards for practices, something we've worked hard, and there's going to be a great session by led by others, our vice chair this year, Sarah Odenkirk, who's done a terrific job with that. So please take note of that. And then also just improving the resources that we have, the blogs, the webinars, the conferences, there's surveys. Please take note of all of them, because a lot of great work has been put into them by the fellow PAN Council that is here, and we really hope to work as ambassadors. See somebody who's got a council member tag on their nameplate, please go up and introduce yourself and ask any questions. With that, I will pass it on to Wendy.
Good morning, everyone. It is such an honor to have this opportunity to welcome you to the 2015 Americans for the Arts Public Art Preconference. On behalf of the City of Chicago, I extend a heartfelt hello. We're so happy that you're all here. This is the first time that the AFTA conference has ever landed in Chicago, and we could not be more excited to host you here in our metropolis on the prairie, with its mountainous skyscrapers, storied river, and miles upon miles of neighborhoods fertile with culture. And what a meaningful topic that convenes us all for this pre-conference. By its nature, public art has unique significance for the diverse publics who create it and experience it. And I find one common thread across public art's myriad possibilities and definitions to be the notion of storytelling, context of a site, allowing histories to remain alive and relevant. Public art can ground the creative process with which communities and civic practices imagine and invest in the stories of our future. Public art can, by design, invent new perspectives of how we experience the public realm in the present, leaving stories behind of happening shared by those who encountered their temporariness. I hope your stay in Chicago is rich with stories, those you hear, those you share, and those we create together. Continue mapping the terrain. Here in Chicago, exploring the origins of community engagement in Bronzeville, Hyde Park, and Little Village. Strolling through Millennium Park, the new 606 Bloomingdale Trail, or the Riverwalk. Checking out the electric and vibrant street art that increasingly emerges across Chicago, from Rogers Park to Logan Square to Pilsen and beyond. Here in Chicago, experiencing the aesthetics and intentionality of the work led by Theaster Gates Rebuild Foundation in the numerous Dorchester projects. Discovering the community of the future in Bridgeport along the shores of what was once called Bubbly Creek. Traversing the city by L, no doubt, or participating in Spencer Tunick's giant nude photo shoot of AFTA Public Art Pre-Conference attendees in front of a cloud gate. That last one hasn't actually been scheduled, but anything is possible, and the best stories are unexpectedly. I welcome you all to have grand fun exploring the Windy City, the city of big shoulders, the city in a garden, sweet home Chicago. Thank you.
Thank you, Wendy, for that amazing welcome. And up next, we'll hear from Bob Lynch, President and CEO of Americans for the Arts.
You know, it occurs to me that the lectern should probably be on the other side as each one of us makes the trek up here. I want to just say thanks for you all being here and welcome to all of you. It's exciting to see so many people, and I'm your biggest consumer because I spend most of my time on the road traveling across America, and you are America's museum. I get to see pieces in airports and cities and small towns everywhere, and it's exciting and energizing. So I thank you all for that. I love and always have loved spectacle and scale, and that's probably why I love public art. Some of you know I was a survivor of the original Woodstock. Anyone else? There's fewer and fewer. Hey, there you go, man. I love that. Oh, yes, I remember that. But what I want to say is that that was spectacle, that was scale. What a lot of people don't remember or don't know is that everywhere there were visual things. Like, for example, aerial art with big peace signs in smoke in the sky. And I got hooked on spectacle and scale because of that. And then later working on festivals, I got excited what a festival could do. Wendy was talking about happenings, for example, or the feeling of happening and temporariness. And so that work led to working with artists like Otto Pine, for example, who would make inflatables about the size of a third of this room and then suddenly we would have worked on it for months, as all of you do, but suddenly it would appear transforming a spot, sometimes on a university campus that wasn't ready for it, and administrators looking out and wondering what happened. Isn't that the great kind of feeling that you all want to have sometimes as you work with managers? So what I'm excited about is that we're here in Chicago, first time, as was said, and yet I've loved this city and the architecture in the city and the public art in the city, and also the story of public art. Struggle with acceptance of a piece, like the Picasso piece that we all learned over the years. Techniques to work on having public art accepted and then beloved space. Public art and placemaking have a real role in driving many aspects of the rest of the work of Americans for the Arts. For example, tourism. So destination, when I go to places, I see that mayors love public art because it makes their place more attractive. Tourism directors love public art because it makes more people come to the place, and the place is more interesting, or it makes it defined in some way as that particular location. We have to tell that story again and again and again to show people in one town why what we do is valuable because it's worked in another town. And that's part of what my job is, to be out there working with those non-art sectors. Artists are critical to the process, and there's many artists here. The artist-manager partnership is critical as it contributes to making a better community, making more economic contribution, and just making more joy in the lives of the people. I thank the Public Art Network for the hard work in supporting the artists and the administrators through field education, through networking, through coming up with new opportunities, through resource development, all of the things that we work on at Americans for the Arts all the time. In this nationwide museum that I love, I get to see things that are, like, for example, the floors, many times, the floors of the airport in Miami. I know them all now, and so I look down when I go to Miami. But in Orlando, the big, large-scale murals, so I look up when I'm in the Orlando airport. Or the, I think John talked about, sometimes it's about jokes, and so me as my friend Craig Nutt, some of you may have worked with him, and his giant wooden ear of corn that's in the Atlanta airport. Or just the joy of stumbling across something like Janet Eckelman's giant that are strung between buildings in Boston. And when I see something like that, and I don't know who it is, I have the best, I mentioned to the PAM committee yesterday, I have the best app in the world. I call Patricia, or text her, and she tells me what it is and why I should love it. And so what we are doing at Americans for the Arts in the next couple of years is using a theme about transforming America's communities through the arts to get people to understand that we're about the arts, but we're also about transformation, and that the arts linked with all of these other things, economy or community or placemaking, is a great future for support for the arts and support for public art. And at the core of that is public art. The transformation of American community through public art is what I'm excited about, and I'm excited to be here with you. So I thank Patricia, I thank the PAM Council and Jimmy, and I hope you have a fabulous couple of days. Thank you so much.